let's take a look at the absolute best builds this season. Hit 150 cleared by the Necromancer, Barbarian, Druid. Sorceress is sitting at 142. We got the Spiritborn with 122 and the Rogue with 136. Everyone has been obliterating this season. For the Necromancer, we got Lord Sora and Makuna having a tight race versus each other. This would be Lord Sora's run because Makuna only showed the boss fight. And we're talking about an absolute teched out version of the Bloodwave Necro, doing hundreds of trillions of damage at this point. Just as a refresher on how the Bloodwave actually works, you have the new pens Casimir's Legacy, and they make your Bloodwave clap together like butt cheeks over and over again. And with all the multipliers that you're having, you do hundreds of billions, trillions to hundreds of trillions of damage. Like here right now, Sora is pulling pretty much all the elites together because the Necro itself can just blood mist around to pick up the blood orbs that the Bloodwave spawn to then do guaranteed overpowers. I saw 111 trillion damage there. Now there's a difference to his and Makuna's version though, because Lord Sora is still playing with blood orbs and actually collecting them as he then spawns the Bloodwave. But what does Makuna do different? He goes for tons of cooldown reduction. So instead of having to do the circle motion after every single Bloodwave picking them up, no, you now get all the cooldown reduction to just cast Bloodwave, 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 Bloodwave. What's here in this boss fight? There's a Bloodwave, and then he's doing his corpse explosion to reduce the cooldown a little bit. Then he does another Bloodwave. So he just has the cooldown reduction to make it work. And the biggest difference is one more damaging aspect. We get Makuna playing with the Vehement Brawler for 2 more ranks to your ultimate skill and another 30% more damage, with the aspect of the Damned for the 55% damage increase against cursed enemies. Then he get ultimate cooldown reduction, ultimate cooldown reduction, ultimate cooldown reduction, all the way up there to be able to use it more often. And in comparison, we got Lord Sora, who also plays the ultimate cooldown reduction, but he chooses to still go for the fast blood aspect to just get it a little bit faster. And for Druid, 5 beasts from the east have us beaten. And in this case, we're talking about the Cataclysm Druid. You're using your Zan rune together with a Quox rune to create a permanently overpowering cataclysmic storm that just hits and hits again. You just popped some potions, you could see that, Shroud of False Death. So we're talking about absolute top end tier, super triple masterworked equipment, and then just having your storm overpower critical strike the whole time. The one problem with this build is, and always has been, that you cannot make it strike faster because you use your Cataclysm and it just happens, right? You're going to make sure to have your Cataclysm up as often as possible, that it just runs forever, but you cannot make it strike faster. It just strikes as fast as it pretty much strikes. The only thing you can do is he's here pulverizing to have them do less damage, and then just have your storm do all the absolute crazy amazing damage it does. Let's check what he's doing different than others. First, he's playing the cycle to always stay healed up, because you're pretty much going to rotate around your enemies, and at pit 150, everyone stays alive for quite a while and tries to kill you, and with the cycle, he just continuously stays alive. Also, in his spirit boons, he's actually choosing to play masochistic, where critical strikes with shapeshifting skills, and your storm skills are shapeshifting skills because of the Tempest Roar, are going to continuously heal you. Interesting. He plays the standard Igni Zen to prime the Cataclysm to be always critical strike overpowered. Then he plays Fiu, become injured or crowd controlled. Ergo, he's playing with the thought of losing life, becoming injured, and then boom, healing back up with a cycle. And then he always gets this 1000 offering to do the super 100% hit damage on the Quox rune that takes all your primary resource to deal 100% increased damage. We get the Mjolnir ring with a triple masterwork and willpower. The same goes for the inexorable will and the Tempest Roar, and that really skyrockets your damage. And if he hits things with his pulverize, they do 20% reduced damage, allowing him to stay alive. Let's check how the boss fight looks. We got 8:20 left, so 7 minutes to go through the dungeon, 8 minutes for the boss fight. And this is what I said compared to like the Bloodwave build. The Bloodwave with the cooldown reduction, you can just make it strike more often. Here, you're kind of like, you gotta wait for your lightnings to actually strike. We cannot improve the timing of the strikes, but damn, he's doing damage. Like damage for days for sure. This is quite impressive to see how fast he's striking down a 150 boss. Legend. By the way, planners to all these builds are in the description below, nicely broken down, everything in English. Let's go over to the Barbarian. We got Mr. PXX and COX both been clearing the Pit 150, and they're playing Hammer of Ancient versions, where PXX is not going for the explosions, but Mr. CO is doing, and I really like that version way more. They're also pretty damn close. And in this case, we got him making the earthquakes, pulling everything together, swapping weapons with the Bash and Hammer of Ancients, but also finally exploding these earthquakes with Hammer of Ancients for bonus billions and billions of damage. You pretty much consume your earthquakes, and the whole damage the earthquake would have dealt during its duration just explodes outwards, instantly leading to hundreds of billions of damage straight away, instead of just slowly ticking away. It is crazy good, especially for these very big mob packs, and he's just standing in the middle, making earthquakes, bashing in between. Every now and then the Hammer of Ancient is just boom. If you do not have Vessel of Hatred, then you cannot play this build because you do need the runes for it. That was a 52.2 trillion hit. Whoa, 73.0 trillion. Okay, we're talking, chat. Not hundreds of billions, sorry, tens of trillions. And we get the pretty standard fare here, with the Ugly Bastard Helmet, then the Mantles of the Mountain's Fury for the Earthquake to deal double damage. And I think this one is just so good as you get the 50% chance, the triple massive work, everything, to really have the Mantles of the Mountain's Fury go absolutely bonkers. And the way how he's getting earthquakes is with a Lith Tech rune. He stands still for 0.3 seconds, and then he gets an earthquake. Stand still, earthquake, stand still, earthquake. And you only have to stand still for 0.3 seconds. That's pretty much nothing. You could even stutter step it, like 1 step forward, 0.3 seconds, 1 step forward, 0.3, and just get yourself earthquake after earthquake after earthquake. You're not forced to actually stand in one place. But as he's playing the aspect of the Inner Calm, where you get triple the damage bonus after 3 seconds, which would make it a 60% damage bonus, he's actually standing still to get those earthquakes. Okay, what about Sorc? They fixed the bugs. Yes, Sorc was super bugged with the fireball play, shatter, shenanigans, shebang bangs. I think most of these super abuses were fixed because Sorc suddenly could do 150. We got Roxy still sitting here with a 142. Makuna, yes, from the Necro, right behind. Now, I don't know if there's still some shatter bug happening with the Sorc, because there was a very old one with a fireball. But you get Makuna here too, standard strategy, pull everything together, right? You don't just kill single mob packs. No, you gotta get as many things together as you can. And then we'll see the Inferno spam, which is super fun. Look at the low cooldown. Yeah, this is the Inferno spam. Over and over and... Everyone just gets snaked together. Now, I've tried to do a similar version, but I just never had the equipment that I could really go for this Inferno spam. And I saw, I think, 145 trillion from the Inferno there. It's brilliant. Just constricting and snaking everyone to death. Took him 7 minutes to go through the dungeon, and then 8 minutes left on the boss, just spamming him with the snake. And he's lucky that it's a Spirit Caller of the Frost, because as you can see, this is going to take all the time now to really get the boss killed. But hey, you're Sorc, you're pretty safe, you're gathering your crackling energy, you're just standing there, and you're just 210 trillion, holy Christ, standing away and just hurting him hard. In order to get this to work though, we need the Talrasha's Iridescent Loop with a greater affix into the cooldown reduction. You want a Harlequin Crest with a greater affix into the cooldown reduction. Optimally a Shroud that you can get the passive skills up. And then we need even more Inferno cooldown reduction tempers to really have the Inferno be very low. That we can actually go Inferno, Inferno, Inferno. And a lot of the damage comes from the Shatter key passive. After freeze expires, enemies explode for 45% of the damage you dealt to them while frozen. This is perfect versus bosses with ATS, We play against the Spirit Call of the Frost. He summons his ads. You freeze them. They take all the damage. And then, bam, they explode outwards. And that might be still the bug thingy that goes really bonkers and does the trillions of damage. Then we get Rogue, and it's my absolute favorite one. It's Mr. Exodus doing it in hardcore. That's crazy. But he sadly doesn't have a build. That being said, all these builds are quite similar. You either have Twisting Blades together with the Rain of Arrows, you could have Heartseeker together with the Rain of Arrows, or Barrage with Rain of Arrows. They're all really close with each other. And since the Barrage Rain of Arrows is the only YouTube link, we're going to be opening that one up. And I get a whole build guide up actually explaining this specific build. And what you're going to do is you just pull everything together. And you're working on having your Rain of Arrows cooldown 0. And then it's Rain of Arrows, Barrage, Rain of Arrows, Barrage, Rain of Arrows, Barrage, back and forth. While you're still gathering your precision stacks and just do incredible amounts of damage. The better that your gear is, the higher billions you're going to be seeing on the screen. I'm not even sure if you can go up to trillions with this build. I think the highest I've seen for myself was hundreds of billions so far, but I've been having also not really good gear. Okay, I saw 745 billions. That's great to see. Lad is doing more than I've ever dealt with my gear. I think I saw even a tiny trillion there too. Great, that's fantastic. The whole trick for this build is having 3 equipment pieces. Now that's all in a language I can't read. So let me break it down to you in English. You cast Rain of Arrows, your ultimate skill, with the Beastfall boots, and then your next core skill will consume all your energy. Oh no, how bad. The thing is, if you have 150 energy, your preparation specialization will reduce your ultimate cooldown by 10 seconds. And our Rain of Arrow cooldown is reduced to 9.5 seconds, with cooldown reduction and the Vehement Brawler aspect giving it 2 more ranks. So Beastfall boots and Vehement Brawler with preparation and 150 energy. Then you can cast Rain of Arrows and Barrage as your core skill to really straight up instant reset. And then your gameplay loop is pretty much holding down your Rain of Arrows skill and just pressing Barrage in between. That Rain of Arrows straight away gets triggered, with the Word of Hakan making the whole thing just stronger and reducing the ultimate skill cooldown vastly. And that leads to you just going out there and pretty much Rain of Arrows, Barrage, Rain of Arrows, Barrage, Rain of Arrows, Barrage, Rain of Arrows, Barrage. In between, he does do the concealment for the Paragon board to get even more damage on the next Rain of Arrows. Because if you do Rain of Arrows, Barrage, concealment into Rain of Arrows, then you play the Subterfuge skill before Rain of Arrows, and that does, I think it was 75% more damage from your Paragon board. Again, we have a whole planner for this in the description below with an English video breaking the whole build down, if you wish to enjoy that. Last and least, yes, least, we get the Spiritborn. First 4 builds not showing an actual build. That's suspicious in itself. So we're actually going to be looking at our Korean friend down here who's been playing the Hunter build that everyone pretty much is playing. I mean, they're all playing the same thing. We got like the counterattack, Hunter, Armored Hide, Quill Volley shenanigan. And I gotta tell you, after last season, the Spiritborn just looks so disappointing. I guess the only enjoyable thing about Spiritborn you have still is that you're an Undying Calamity. You're just sitting there, fully bury it up, spamming your skills out, unstoppable, nothing can get you stunned, hindered, anything. You're just banging out your damage, your Tiger comes. So it is a good build to play where you simply are not in danger, where you don't die, where you're smooth sailing. And every single piece of tier 4 content is also super easy for you. Only that if you want to go deeper into the pit, you kind of get held up. So I guess Spiritborn in itself is quite balanced. It's just not like super amazing. Sadly, this is all in Korean, but we know this is the Banished Lord's Talisman together with the Ring of Midnight Suns for the instant restoration. We get the Shroud of False Death with the Harmony of Abawaka. The whole plan with the build is to essentially funnel all the damage into your Jaguar, Spirit Hall, and then just explode opponents like there's no tomorrow. Super attack speed into maximum overpowers and just slapping them silly. My personal favorite and most fun build to play that shines in any piece of content is truly the Barbarian with the Earthquake's Explosion. It does not only do good in the pit, it also does do good in Inferno Hordes, Nightmare Dungeons, Undercity, whatever you're doing, the Barb just feels amazing. Where the Necromancer, sure, Mikuna's build with a very low cooldown feels also good outside of the world, but not as good as Barb has felt throughout everything. And I am a main Necromancer and I hate Barbarian, and I'm telling you that. If you're now looking to play set Barbarian, here's my broken down guide, or the Rogue, for example. Enjoy, have a fantastic good time with what's left of the season.